From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight for the MTN 9 o'clock news. I'm Russ Riesinger. COVID-19 related deaths across Montana surpassed 500. That information, along with another nearly 1,000 confirmed cases, prompted Governor Steve Bullock and state health experts to make another appeal to Montanans. The warning: if people don't strictly follow public health guidelines, the state's hospitals and economy will be overwhelmed. MTN Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison was there.
In his first public appearance since losing last week's U.S. Senate election, Bullock said alarm bells are ringing loudly on COVID-19 and that Montana is approaching a crisis situation. He noted that 10,000 cases were reported statewide in the 11 days that ended last Sunday, pushing the total cases past 40,000 when it took 6 months to reach the first 10,000 infections in the state. But the governor said without additional aid from Congress, he won't go back to greater restrictions that would impose more economic burdens on families and businesses.
I've never wanted to punish the businesses that are doing right in this pandemic, that keep their employees and customers safe. Shutting down those businesses would do just that.
State Medical Officer Greg Holtzman said that hospitals in Montana are becoming overburdened with COVID-19 patients and that local health departments can't keep up with contact tracing on so many new cases. He also said Montanans cannot sit and wait for a vaccine, which won't be widely available this winter.
Please stop the arguing about what one does not want to do and ask yourself, what can I do? What can we do to help protect our communities and decrease the stress and burden on all our frontline workers?
Bullock echoed those comments, urging people to take the steps that he said would make the upcoming winter a lot less challenging and a lot less dark.
I asked Montanans certainly to do this, not for me, do it for the many who are working in our crowded hospitals to make sure that you can still seek care. Do it for those in our communities who are making sure that you can get a test or that a business can safely stay open instead of going under. Do it for the thousands of kids who rely on their schools for more than an education, and for the parents working to keep the heat on and put food on the table.
While Governor Bullock delivered his message Thursday on COVID-19 with a bit more urgency, it really hasn't changed. Take this seriously, Montanans. Social distance and wear a mask. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
County health authorities across the state are reporting 8 more deaths today. One of those victims, a Bighorn County woman in her 60s. She marks the county's 41st death. The state total now stands at 505. 3 of those victims are from a second Butte nursing home, now the site of another outbreak. Butte's Copper Ridge Health and Rehab made the announcement today. Along with the deaths, 30 residents and 13 staff members have also tested positive. The health department says the first cases appeared in late October. Continental Care and Rehab in Butte is also in the middle of an outbreak, having reported 12 deaths among residents so far. And the virus is again shutting down school in Jordan. School officials announced today they will transition to remote learning on Monday and have tentatively scheduled to resume in-person learning on Monday, November 30th. The entire Great Falls School District will also conduct remote learning for the same 2-week period. Well, as COVID cases continue to rise, Montana businesses are feeling the impact firsthand. Some owners with a real concern. They may have to permanently close their doors before the pandemic is over. MTN's John Riley is in Helena.
Not that long ago, Bad Betty's Barbecue in Helena was swarmed with customers, often completely selling out well before closing. During the pandemic, they're lucky to see a quarter of that. Owner Calvin Richards says if something doesn't change, he may have to make some heartbreaking decisions.
It's day to day. It really is. And I don't think I'm the only one in town who's experiencing that. It really is day to day. We closed for a week last week. It had just gotten to the point where it was costing me more money to be open than it was worth. I don't know. It's all very much up in the air. We could be closed within a week if things don't, go our way.
Another very popular Helena restaurant, No Sweat Cafe in downtown Helena, has had similar issues finding customers. Pre-pandemic, the small cafe would be overflowing with customers with an hour-long wait that many would happily put up with.
Weekends are busiest, but it's comparable to like a busy Tuesday in the summer now.
Both No Sweat and Bad Betty's took advantage of COVID relief grants from CARES Act funding. In total, the state has paid out $187 million through their Business Stabilization Grant Program to 13,000 businesses across Montana. However, those funds are only temporary relief. With COVID cases rising, many small businesses worry it will keep customers from going out, even just to pick up something. There's also the looming fear of having to close for a period if an employee contracts the virus. Looking at the outlook, many businesses say they're going to need additional support this winter.
I think with the current state of things, with the numbers spiking in Montana, I don't see this going away for a long time. There has to be some more stabilization money, or not just myself. There's a lot of businesses in this town that have already shuttered their doors, and there's going to be a lot more.
In Helena, small businesses are trying to support each other where they can. No Sweat purchases bacon from Bad Betty's to use in their shop. Fire Tower Coffee, who also serves breakfast right across the street from No Sweat, has blended coffee for them when a shipment was late. They're not competitors, but a community trying to weather a brutal drought.
All these amazing businesses that offer so much down here, and it doesn't take you going in there every day to support the business. If you want next summer to be able to eat at Murray's or No Sweat or Fire Tower or wherever once a week, it doesn't take a whole lot to shore the local businesses up right now. It just takes a lot of people doing it.
Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
At the governor's news conference, Bullock said the state will be looking at any leftover CARES Act funding in coming weeks, but until Congress passes more relief, there is no guarantee that enough support will be available. Well over a week now since the presidential election, and President Trump continues to fight the results, but some of his own party members are now pushing him to coordinate with President-elect Joe Biden. Today, I caught up with Senator John Tester. He believes all the votes need to be counted, but he says that the courts have seen no evidence of fraud. He calls the peaceful transfer of power critical to our democracy.
Well, first of all, I think it's very, very unfortunate. I think that one of the hallmarks of our democracy has been a peaceful transfer of power. The president's been talking about a rigged election now since he got elected back in 2016. And I will tell you, at some moment in time, the facts have to fall forth. And I think it is time for the president to understand that this is a democracy. Peaceful transfer of power is critically important, and we need to move forth. And why I say it's a bit disturbing is because there are folks that want to do harm to this country. And the transfer of power needs to be done in an orderly way so that people can get educated and be brought up to speed on what's going on internationally and domestically when it comes to threats to this country. And that's just a start. And right now, that's not being allowed to happen. And that is not how this country works.
We did also put in a request to talk to Montana's Republican Senator Steve Daines. We're told he won't be available, though, until next week. Well, the man accused of fleeing to Idaho after a fatal shooting in Billings says he's not guilty. 37-year-old Benyel Davis appeared by video in Yellowstone County District Court this morning. Authorities say he shot 30-year-old Waylon Bearground on November 1st outside of an apartment on King Avenue East. Bearground's parents, who had driven him to the apartment, then took him to the hospital where he died. After the shooting, court documents state that Davis fled to Idaho. He was arrested in Coeur d'Alene on November 3rd and told authorities that shooting was in self-defense. His bond is set at $500,000. A Billings developer says West Billings has the types of business that creates the opportunity for a new hotel and event center. Veeder Homestead LLC has two separate projects on Overland Avenue. One is a 137-room Marriott Courtyard Hotel, which caters to business travelers. The company's other project is the renovation of the old Carmike movie theater behind Costco into a 30,000 square foot event or conference center. The center will not be part of the hotel and will be run as separate business.
Marriott Courtyard is separate from the event center and will remain separate from the event center. But obviously there will be interaction and interplay, and there will be people using the event center, and they'll be staying, certainly some of them, as guests in the Marriott Courtyard.
David Veeder says COVID-19 has slowed construction of both projects and doesn't have an estimate on completion dates. Well, if it's on your driving route, you've recently watched the 6th Street underpass take on a whole new look. Q2 Shaquille Cozart met up with the artist and the people who helped bring the Rise and Shine mural to reality.
If your daily commute in Billings involves driving below the 6th Street underpass, then I'm sure you've seen the progression of the Rise and Shine mural. Well, the mural that highlights animals one might see in Montana, landscapes, and of course, the big sky is now complete.
Yes, the mural started in the spring with the design planning, but we started painting the actual mural the 1st of August. I have been working on it pretty much every day without a day off ever since. So it took over 100 days, over 1,000 hours.
And Lineker says that during the 100 days and 1,000 hours, the support from the community shined through. She received waves, honks, donations, and she was even offered free drinks and tacos out of car windows. To this day, she has reported around 100 separate events where people showed her random acts of kindness.
My original goal was to make a difference in just one person's day, but it has exploded and been so much more than that.
We had so much support from the community the whole way through. And so the task force, the Big Sky Economic Development, and the community at large is really, and of course Alyssa, are really the team that put this together.
So I just wanted to go over a few of the favorite parts of this mural, and I want you to tell me a little bit more about this. What are we looking at here?
This is probably my favorite part just because I utilized the natural slope of to make the elk kind of look like they're walking down the hill toward traffic. And it has those really vibrant colors that inspire feelings of positivity that I hope will make somebody's day a little brighter.
That was Shaquille Cozart reporting. Leininger says she hopes to have the opportunity to make more public art in the future, and you can find more on this story on ktvq.com. Well, still to come on the MTN 9 o'clock news, test takers, students in Bozeman showing an ability to succeed despite the challenges of remote learning. That story coming up in just a bit. First, though, windy and warmer. Bob McGuire's in next with your full 7-day forecast.